Now, today marks a year since the passing of Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu. He passed away at the age of 90 following a battle with prostate cancer. For more, we're joined by South African Council of Churches General Secretary Bishop Malusi Mpumlwana. Very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Newzroom Afrika, Bishop. This year of 2022 was a first without the voice of Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu. As the year went by, and in reflecting on some of the memories and the messages, the very strong messages that he spread, what stands out for you?
Well, I want to say he prepared us very well, because he kept on saying, I'm truly retired. I am truly retired. And so we got used to his receding voice over some time. But I have to say that his departure leaves a major responsibility on those of us that have listened to him to play our role in what would be a kind of a lasting memory of his legacy. And that is why we support the call of the Desmond and Leah Tutu Legacy Foundation to what they call to create the Archbishop's heirloom to humanity. In other words, what he stood for becomes an heirloom that is packaged for humanity on an ongoing basis. And I have to say, and that in that context, they are creating a global partnership. I want to add to that, to say, a lot of what the Archbishop did, actually, and that really shot into his prominence, is what he did as General Secretary of the South African Council of Churches, which therefore puts a greater responsibility on the SACC to contribute to that lasting memorialization of his voice and of his work. And I would say that there are two things in particular that the SACC seeks to achieve in this regard. The first one is local, the other one is global. And if you'd allow me, I'll go into those very quickly.
Yes, sure.
Would I?
Definitely.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Now, globally speaking, Archbishop Desmond made the call for peace and justice in the Holy Land, where he recognized the signs of the designs of the State of Israel to be apartheid-oriented. And while we would like to change that, we went to the World Council of Churches this past year to say we are asking for the three Abrahamic faiths, Muslims, Jews, and Christians, and their leaders in the world to come together for what would be the lasting peace and security for all in the Holy Land. We still think that that is something that would give a memory of Archbishop Desmond a lasting legacy. The second is local. It is that Desmond Tutu talked about what he called the Rainbow Nation, and we say that was an aspirational call. It was not something that was real. It could not be real. It could not be rainbow after generations of racial as well as ethnic division in South Africa. Now, in order to change that towards the Rainbow Nation, we need to actually engage seriously and specifically in the kind of nation building that makes all of us have a common sense of being South African. We are now living in the same geographic space called South Africa, but we're not one nation at all. And therefore, the SACC is committing to say we will remember Desmond by creating the platform for a common nationhood, which will then become what Desmond thought was going to be a rainbow nation. We think that is possible. There are a number of things that have to happen, but it must be worked on in earnest.
Talk to us about the pledge that you laid out, Bear, to say that you want the Wilgespreid Fellowship Center to be developed into a park, allowing people to celebrate and really continue the traditions of non-racialism, and things like that. Especially as you and I speak, Bishop, we know of an incident that's occurred in the Free State. Young black men swimming, and then now having to allegedly being bullied out of there by white men who are saying that it's a whites-only pool. But of course, these are all still allegations, and further investigations are needed. But it's sent out a lot of outrage and anger when we talk about the issue of racism.
It bothers a lot, especially because you remember that it was also the Free State that had, students bullying female university workers and urinating over their food and wanting them to eat. You remember that
Yes.
incident?
Yes, definitely.
And so it does tell us that there's a whole lot more that has to be done and especially for the Council of Churches, because those people worship in some congregation. they are members of some church, and therefore we have got a greater responsibility and maybe even the opportunity to reach out to every family's dining room and be able to say, we can be one nation. And to do that, there's no room for this kind of bullying. Now, what did the Archbishop ask for? It was in 1996, believe it or not. We only just discovered it recently. And I think it was sort of spared for us for the time after he would have gone. Because look, he is a Nobel Prize winner. And he brought the other Nobel Prize winners together with him, Mandela, de Klerk, and the family of the Albert Luthuli, to say, let us together commit to a South African Nobel Peace that will enable South Africans to themselves, individually and collectively as a nation. And that, therefore, gets to the heart of what we need to do for the wounded South Africa, to deal with their woundedness and the healing that is necessary, as well as creating the environment for that, which comes through economic transformation that enables every person in every part of the country to feel they've got a stake in the economy of this country, where they've got the kind of society that South African churches are saying it is every child born to grow to its God-given potential. We need the shalom that enables that. And that's what the welfare state, by the way, that property was given in 1948 by a family, the Anderson family, that said, all right, let the nationalists have won for the apartheid, but this piece of land will be an oasis for peace that enables a non-racial society never to be dimmed in our society, in our country. And this is the responsibility of the SACC that was given by the Anderson family, and we have to make sure that is delivered upon, even at this time.
Absolutely. Now, as we perhaps, the line on your end is not very good, but I was hoping to expand a little bit on the racist incident, but perhaps let's jump to this. As we reflect on the climate, I mean, racism, the politics at hand, we know that the Arch was very vocal when it comes to politics, and the road leading to 2024 with elections coming up just came out of a conference, the 55th ANC conference taking place. What do you think would be some of the words being uttered by the Arch during such a time? I mean, also looking at what's happened on the 24th of February this year, the Ukraine-Russia conflict and its ripple effect on the world at large. What do you think would be some of those pearls of wisdom?
Beginning with the Ukraine war, it's amazing, but of course, I mean, maybe it was mentioned that we have, as SACC, been working with the World Council of Churches as well as the Vatican to support the Vatican initiative for peacemaking in Ukraine. But what bothers me more about the Ukraine-Russia war is that, the precedent that it sets, that as Russia says, this particular region of Ukraine speaks Russian. Therefore, that must be part of Russia. Can you imagine if Lesotho were to attack South Africa because people in the Free State speak Lesotho, and Northwest can be attacked by Botswana because, really, I think that it sort of degenerates to a tribal war. And that is something that I don't know if the world is actually looking at the implications of this, because how many countries have got different language speaking with their neighbors? That, for me, is a serious concern for the Russia-Ukraine war. But coming back to our country, the non-racial character of our society has, in the past, been championed by the African National Congress. What is disturbing is the decline of that principle in the ANC. I mean, they never even thought a second about whether a premier of the NEC that they've elected, hardly any other race except the so-called Africans. And that does say that increasingly the notion of a non-racial society is declining in our society. And I think that again comes back to the need for an aggressive campaign for a common nationhood so that color and race ethnicity does not become the norm. Particularly, I would like to say that maybe we should just do away with provinces, because they are glorified Bantustans. You cannot be the premier of Northwest without being Tswana. You cannot be the premier of KZN without being Zulu. To boot, you even have the King of the Zulus opening. It then becomes a glorified Bantustan. So I think that this thing about nation building in Tutu's spirit of a rainbow nation, we have to work very hard at it, and we're not doing that.
Yeah, very well. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time and weighing in there. South African Council of Churches General Secretary Bishop Malusi Mpumlwana, speaking, of course, as we look at 1 year since the passing of Archbishop Desmond Tutu.